Welcome to the Way to Go podcast. I'm Bill McMahon. Along with me is Eric Barfell, and we are talking Christmas and unapologetically Merry Christmas. By the way,
ho ho.
That's going to be part of our skit. Actually, you'll see.
Good.
You will be helping me write later on today.
Oh, good. Can't wait.
So yeah, we're doing podcasts and then we'll be doing skits later.
Good to know.
I'll try to get a gist out of it, but I look forward to that too. No, it's crazy. I mean, right now when we're doing this podcast, all right, it is the 10th of December. So this podcast will air not on a different day, obviously, but that right now, from we're doing the podcast, Christmas Eve is 2 weeks away.
Oh, geez.
Think about that.
And it's like,
Christmas
what, 50
Day is 2
degrees
weeks in
out
a
right
day.
now?
Yeah, it's going to be 60 tomorrow.
Nice.
On the 11th. And then I don't see any cold weather in the forecast, so I'm getting pretty sad. I haven't looked, though, at the 14-day forecast in a couple days, but I was getting pretty queasy about it. I know, man. I want a white Christmas. We've had a white 10 other days in November and December. You know, I want to wait December 25th. We'll see what we get. But anyway, it's season of worship, and Herod, Herod's crazy. Herod kills people, get in his way. Herod is scared to death when he hears about this Messiah, this Jesus being born, because the only thing he can think about is how do I get my hands on him and kill him? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to have anyone threat. And
he was a huge threat.
He's only going to live a couple more years anyway. Jesus Christ, being alive, being dead, not going to make his life go on any longer. But he just couldn't stand that threat to his power. So he gets these wise men who come into Jerusalem, by the way, in Matthew 2, and turn the town on its head by saying that there's somebody born king of the Jews. And Herod's like, but I'm king of the Jews. Somebody born king of the Jews, that means somebody's going to take my place. So that's what he's thinking. And Herod called the Magi. These are astrologers. These are people who've been watching the star. God spoke to them with the star. And he found out the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem because Bethlehem is where prophecy said Jesus Christ would be born. And I think it's cool that Christ fulfills prophecy because he'd be born in Bethlehem. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him. And he wants to know the star's exact date of appearance. Why? Why does he want to know? He wants to know because he wants to know how old this kid is.
Yeah, right.
He wants to know. That's why he kills later on. He kills everyone 2 years old and down in Bethlehem when the wise men don't come back and they go back another way. And God tells Joseph to run with Mary and Jesus and go to Egypt, leave Judea, go to Egypt, hide from Herod, because Herod's seeking to kill your kid, kill the Messiah, right? He knows the child's 2 years old and down because that's when the star appeared. So you figure for the wise men to organize this trip from the time they saw the star, see them and get there. That's why people think Jesus Christ could have been up to 2 years old by the time the wise men saw him. That's where that speculation comes from. That's why people think that really the nativity is.
I was just gonna say your nativity is probably inaccurate.
It's probably inaccurate, but that's okay because they were all part of the Christmas story, and that's what we remember them. But you have Jesus Christ in the manger, Joseph, Mary, shepherds, animals, wise men, and a star, and an angel. Right. I mean, these are typically all parts of a nativity because the angel makes the announcement. The shepherd come over. So they're all part of it. Somebody actually asked me this. They said, well, was Jesus Christ? I just heard that Jesus Christ wasn't born on December 25th. I'm like, well, that is most likely true. You know, he was probably not born on December 25th. We don't know when he was born. Right. Yeah. So we worship that day because back when the heathens, Christianity was first coming into heathen areas, they celebrated this winter solstice, this pagan holiday, and Christianity was saying, well, we can't have our followers celebrating that. We need to give them something else to celebrate. So they gave them the birth of Christ to celebrate, and that's why this all coincides with like winter solstice, December 25th, and that's how it all comes about.
So when do you think he was born?
We don't know. No one knows.
Okay. I had a study Bible when I was a kid. I think it was like between January and February. Somewhere in there. Yeah. Like it was just soon after.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it was important for us to know, the Bible would have told us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know he died. We don't know the exact date. We just know it was Passover, but the date of Passover changes every year either, but I don't want to get into that.
Right.
But anyway, he says that he wants to worship. No, he doesn't. Herod does not want to worship Jesus. He's lying. And this drives me crazy. You know how deceptive people can be, the dishonesty of it. Go search carefully. And as soon as you find a report to me that I may go and worship him, which is another word for kill him, because he didn't want to worship him. He wanted to destroy him.
Well, for as disturbed as Herod is, like, feeling so threatened by this baby, this new king of the Jews under his rule kind of thing. Yeah, no, this is not an act of worship to Christ the King. It's more of an act of worship in fueling Herod himself,
right?
To eliminate the threat that was baby Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like false worship to a false god of himself,
right?
Essentially.
Yeah, because he didn't come. He should have been like, oh my goodness, God sent someone born king of the Jews. Maybe I need to touch base with God and find out what's going on, instead of trying to kill God's work, because you're never going to stop God's work. And that's one thing you got to realize. You are never going to stop the church. You can mock it. You can say what you want. You can be snarky about it. You are not going to stop the work of God. You look at Eagleville Bible Church every Sunday morning. I mean, how many hundreds of people come here? We're blessed.
Right.
And they just keep pouring in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even in COVID.
You can't shut it down. You can't lock it up. The church in Canada too.
Yeah, you just can't do it, because it's always going to go on, because the work of God and what God's got going on in the world just can't be stopped. Now, when I think about poor reasons to worship, I would think if somebody was going to worship for what they could get out of it, that would be not good. Being here for someone else or something else, that would be bad. So if it's just about, again, just all about me, I just want, maybe it could be more friends, or I want applause, or I want something. I want God to give me something. God, I'm going to be here and you're going to give me something.
Right.
Those would all be wrong reasons. I'm going to come to church because God will bless my business. I'm going to come to church because then God will help me to find someone to marry. I'm going to come to church because then God will answer all my prayers.
It's the right thing to do.
We come
the connectivity, to worship, the relational.
They bowed down to Jesus. That's why they were there. Like, we're coming down to worship. There can be a lot of false reasons why people might come to church, and not everyone in church is really a Christian. I mean, you have the church and you have the crowd on any Sunday morning. The goal is you want to see the crowd become the church. You want to see the crowd come to Christ.
Agreed.
But you realize on any given Sunday morning, that's not all it. So just because you come to church doesn't exactly make you a Christian any more than Herod, just because he's saying the right words.
Right.
Actions dictate.
Yeah,
who a person is.
That's what I say when I give the announcements. I'm like, hey, like, we have opportunities for you to get involved, for you to serve. And I'll always say, I might have not said it on stage, but like, that's being an active and engaged member of the body of Christ, to be reaching out, to be serving, to be growing in that way, not just making it through the door on a Sunday morning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I always encourage people, like, serve in any way you can. Like, what do you like to do? What are you gifted at? Like, get involved. Join a small group and connect in that way. Like, man, it makes all the difference between just showing up.
Right. No, I agree. You definitely need to be connected. But you don't want to worship for the wrong reason. I think that people say a lot of things. Jesus Christ said a good tree is known by its fruit. Good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. And somebody just saying the words or saying, oh, yeah, I want, they're in a crisis, whatever, give me Jesus. But to really worship him, to bow down, to know that he is the most important person on the planet, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So it's a season of worship, for sure. I mean, one thing we should be doing during the Christmas season, we should be worshiping. We talked last podcast about it's a season of Scripture, getting the Bible. It's a season of light, right? Jesus Christ, the light of the world. He came here, a star guided the wise men. But it's also a season of joy. And after they had heard the king, they went on their way. The star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. And to me, one great aspect of the holiday, one great aspect of Christianity is joy.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I think it's huge, especially what we were just talking about. One thing I also said in youth group, as far as like a tree bearing fruit, you can't fake results. You can show up all you want. You can sign up and have your name be on the list, this, that, the other thing. I give the example in youth group. Every night, I'll go to plug in my phone so it's fully charged in the morning. And the charger, the outlet's right by my bedside. Sometimes I move it around, whatever. Well, sometimes I'll plug it in, and in the morning, it's not charged. The plug was bent or whatever. It wasn't plugged in all the way. But to me, it's like, oh, no, it's plugged in. See? But the result is an uncharged phone.
Right.
You can't fake the result. You can make it look like it's plugged in. You can show up all you want. You can be here and be whatever. you can't fake the results. So are you bearing fruit? Is the Spirit at work in your life? You know what I'm saying? So when you said that, as far as like you can know a tree based on what fruit it's bearing, is there joy in your life? There ought to be.
Right.
There ought to be as a Christ follower.
Right.
You know, applying the word and having the Spirit move in you in that way. There ought to be joy. You ought to be bearing that fruit.
I would agree.
But you can't fake results.
But let me tell you a story.
Oh, please.
Sit back. You're about to hear a tale. Now, when I was a kid, one of the things my mom did was she taught us how to ride the bus. So I'm 12 years old. Now, this is a long time ago. This is back in the 1970s at this point. She taught us how to ride a bus, and we would catch a bus all times of the year, like all times. We'd go in the summer, we'd go in the spring, we'd go all over. And we'd also go at Christmas, and we would Christmas shop.
School bus or what?
Not a school bus.
Public transportation.
Public transportation came through the town of Shavertown.
Okay.
The bus line, she taught us how to read the schedule, how to walk. So we would walk down the hill, half mile, whatever it was, stand at the bus stop, read the bus stop, know when the bus was coming, when the bus was coming back. And when we got off of the bus stop, we'd know the times we'd have to be back to catch the bus back and what it would cost and how it worked. And she just taught us from the time we were kids how to ride that bus. So, I mean, this free range parenting day, like you're 12 years old. When I was a kid, you're catching a bus with your 12-year-old and your 11-year-old brother. And because I had a twin brother, and we're on our own. Like we went down there without my parents, without supervision. I rode that bus a lot. And I'm going to tell you something. In December, there was a different feel in December than there was at any other month in the year. People would yield their seats faster. They were more pleasant. Even the crazies that you'd see in there spitting on people, you know what I mean? And just like, guy is just nuts, you know, it's just, even they were nice. You know, it's like everyone was nicer during the Christmas season. And as we've moved away from Christ as a society, as we've gotten away, like I've seen less joy. In fact, if anything, I've seen a lot more anxiety, a lot more depression, a lot more of everything. And I think it's kind of sad, you know, because it used to be, you know, you could just say Merry Christmas. No one's going to think a thing about it. Now you say Merry Christmas. Is that politically correct?
Right.
Is that the right thing?
Right.
Should I say Happy Holiday? And all these dumb debates, you know, that we have, instead of just enjoy the season. So I look at one thing that I love about the Christmas season. I do think it's a time of joy.
Yeah. Yes, but that's all like external kind of a thing, opposed to like the joy of the Lord being within you.
I'm saying a lot of those people back in those days, there were way more people going to church. There's way more people impacted by Christ. I would say back in that day. And you saw it in Christmas. As a culture, there was more joy. Yeah. There was more joy.
People love Christmas.
When I was a kid, there was more joy that I felt in the air than I feel now. Now I see people, and they'll ask questions. And again, I'm in contact with a lot of different types of beliefs in social media. Well, I don't know how I feel about the holiday. I don't know what to think. And I responded to somebody recently, just all the things I love about it. Because to me, Christmas is such a joy. I mean, I like putting lights on the house. I like the Christmas Carol, the movie, and the inspiration of mankind was my business. Charity, forbearance, mercy, all these things. That is my business, helping others, and see Scrooge transform between a self-centered son of a gun, someone who actually cared about other people. It's a wonderful life. A guy at the end in that Christmas season, everyone coming to his defense because he had spent his lifetime helping them. And that paid off, big dividend. Like, that's a motivational story. So you got lights, you got Christmas trees, you got giving. You've got a celebration of salvation. I mean, there's so many reasons for us to be happy this time of year. And sometimes I still fear that the joy eludes us because all we see is busyness, and all we see is, you know, I have to be at this gathering, or I have to do this. It just eludes us. That's sad.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of the story of Mary and Martha, where Mary actually stopped her chores and sat at the feet of Jesus and listened to his teaching, and Martha got all bent out of shape about that.
Right.
You know? And this was a youth lesson last year. It's like, that's why we say have a Merry Christmas, not have a Martha Christmas.
Right.
Like, pause, you know, and enjoy the meaning and the reason for the season, and sit in the presence of Jesus.
I mean, I know for us as a staff, I mean, we get busy. Like last night, there's a kids program.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday night, there's another kids program from the church. There's gatherings. There's the Christmas Eve skit. There's a lot of extra things that we're trying to do. But I still try to just keep in mind, Yeah, but it's just a stinking happy time of year. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great thing that Christ came, and to have that attitude of joy, because they were overjoyed when they found Jesus Christ. And they came in the house in verse 11. They saw the child with his mother Mary. They bowed down, they worshiped, and they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream to not go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by another route. And I look at it like they're just so happy, and they're bowing down, and they're giving gifts. And that even, you know, not only is joy, but I think it's a season of giving. You know, it's a season of worship. It's a season of joy. It's a season of giving to other people. Man, this is a time to get your mind off yourself and put it on others. You know, what can I do for someone else? And a lot of times what I find is bringing joy to somebody's life. It's such a simple thing. Like, it might just be a compliment. It might just be, hey, you're doing a great job. You know, it's like that simple. Right. You know, love you, man. I mean, I've heard that. I've said it a lot lately. I've heard a lot, you know, through what I've gone through.
Yeah, you don't have to spend money on these gifts.
No,
you don't
like
have to
what
spend
I've
money
gone
on
through
encouragement.
In a loss, I mean, I just appreciate people reaching out and, hey, love you and whatever. And, you know, I've tried to be, you know, I give that kindness back, because I found, you know, as you get older, you can't be afraid to say, I love you. You can't be, hey, love you, man. I love you guys. Don't be afraid to say it. You know, don't be afraid, because, you know, those words can be such an encouragement to other people.
Yeah.
And I think of Halo. I think of the Vine. I think of the Operation Christmas Child, and all these different things that we do that are so awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I love? A handwritten note and or a like homemade gift that somebody took time and put effort into, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just, man, that to me, like, that is so encouraging that someone would take the time and do that. Like, yeah, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Mark is our producer here. Mark, you want to help me knit Eric a sweater this year? Maybe you can do one mitt and I'll do another.
Yeah, please.
He's over here showing us the handwork. He's got it down, man. Mark's got the needlework.
He's done it before. But anyway, like, you know, that's what's encouraging to me, seeing someone like take the time out of their day to reach out to you in your time of loss and everything. Like, that's encouraging. Like, that means a lot.
Oh, it does. It does, but I'm still stuck on homemade gifts. I'm still stuck on, Eric, I do love you, even though I'm not going to make you
how many
anything.
people have made us like cookies or a jar of salsa from their own garden? Like, come on. Like, I love that kind of stuff.
That is great.
If you don't want to, you know where my office is.
No,
bring me there.
You know I don't turn down cookies.
I know.
That's a fact. We had it was nice at my mom's funeral, the church where she attended, they made a luncheon. They had so much dessert. You know, typical church. They all cooked great.
Sounds about right.
They had all kinds of cookies and cake. I couldn't even begin to sample.
Did they have
all
the
good
cheesy
food
potatoes?
No, I don't think they had sandwiches and like pasta salad. So they went more that route, not like
finger
ours. So they went
foods,
like they had sandwiches, they had pasta, maybe some potato salad, stuff like that, and soup. They had some really good soup. So that was really cool.
Nice.
So man, when I left, I told those ladies, I said, I would be so excited right now if I saw all these cookies left over, because I'd be freezing them to snack on. I brought home with me the biggest container of chocolate chip cookies. I haven't gotten them over here yet, but I've been snacking on them at home.
Yeah,
and
they're not going to make it over here. I got news for you.
They were giving. You know, they were very, very giving. It's actually interesting. Like, I talked to people there out in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, who listened to Eagleville. And so I've never met them before. And so they were coming, they say, hey, we listen to you every week. And then this teenager came up and gave me a big hug, because she listens every Sunday, and they were so excited to meet me. And then Steve preached to fill in for me, and Steve came to the funeral too, and he was there at the luncheon. And they were so excited to meet him, because they said, man,
cool.
We just heard you, give a great sermon last week, and here you are. We get to meet you in person. And
nice.
Yeah, so they were just all super, like, you could just feel the love, and you could feel just their positivity. And I think like that's one thing I want to take away from my mom, actually, is just how encouraging, how giving that way. Like, she was always giving compliments. She was always giving encouragement. She was always positive. It's free.
Right.
It doesn't take you anything to stop as somebody's saying, hey, sorry for your loss, or we love you, or
a little encouragement and
means
enthusiasm. It goes a long way too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some little excitement.
Right. So I look at those things and say, yeah, it's definitely a season. It's a season of, here's the things we talked about last two podcasts, a season of light. It's one of the reasons I made a decision last year. I was putting lights on my house, because Christ's the light of the world. And I want to be emblematic of that, even though I live in the country, so I've never really done it. And house, it looks really cool. We did the lower section. It looks sweet. Nice. You know what I mean? Every time I come up it just makes me smile, to see those Christmas lights on the house, and it's just
Sure.
great. So it's a season of light. It's a season of scripture. It's a season of worship. It's a season of joy. It's a season of giving. And hopefully these things are all part of your season. We appreciate you making this podcast a part of your season. May you have a blessed week, and just keep getting in touch with Jesus Christ. Just keep seeking him out. Take care, all.